Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's thrust episode. So today mainly we are going to talk about my experience, the software engineering experience. So basically today I would like to talk more about the project I work on the company. I can mention that company name. I think it's already. It's a Sri Lankan company. That company name was Aclo. So I joined that company as my second company, I believe. So once I joined that company, so I joined as a software engineer. So the main domain I worked, I think in the previous video also I mentioned about it. It's accounting system. I work on the accounting system, and we had an integration with the university management UMS, university management system. So I'll work on few projects as well as, and also I've done some stock brokering, but it's like 10 more than 10 years ago. I can't remember the domain, but it was the previous system was stock brokering system, and it was Windows based. Even though it is a Windows based, we had a very good architecture using the C sharp, and the backend it has a very good layer architecture. Like we had the interface layer, we had the class library level, and we had the interface layer, we had a business layer, and also the database layer, and the UI is of course Windows system. So layering wise, it was layers very nicely, and not like the previous, the BBS CB6, the C sharp, they were trying to, like, we were trying to use more object oriented approach, and as well as we were using, especially like that time they introduced the transaction scope. So that helped, like when we are doing a multiple transaction, in case if any error happen, so then you can roll back the transaction scope. So that will be very helpful. So because when we were doing the different system, sometimes the before that we did not have that feature. So then we had to introduce manual way, but .NET framework given that option, the using the transaction scope help to manage multiple transaction. So that was one of the good feature I worked. So that I can remember that we use for the stock brokering system. So we've done, I think we had a few clients like the Amanas stockbrokers, and also the Selinco, and I've been involving in the client implementation. We stay in the World Trade Center in Colombo, and we had, like, we stay 2-3 weeks there, and we help, like, we develop the system, and so we've done we had to do some changes, and I got the opportunity to talk with these stockbrokers, and got, that time I can remember we had a war in Sri Lanka. So sometimes they had a very good good days and bad days. When during the wartime, sometimes it's directly involving the stock market. So and heard very nice stories about stockbrokers. And one incident I heard, like, normally they had a different, like, of the players, like those days they did not have any app, right? So you need to log into the website and see this information. But the the old people, they did not have even access to this computer, but they had some facility in their premises. So the people can come and they can do I think they need to monitor all these things, and they can do some investment. So the few people who, like, I heard one story that one person came to that every day. That person was coming to that place and doing this investment and these things, and he was telling his wife, saying that I'm doing a job. So due to this, always it's stock, if you're doing an investment for the stock, right? So sometimes you have ups and downs. So he had some bad time, and he lost some money, and he wife got to know about it, and they were talking about he suicide himself or something. I heard this kind of story. So these are very nice background stories you get to know if when you're in the client side. So, and I had that experience. And sometimes it's very hard to deal with this client. They have very high demand, so they're asking, like, normally the requirement should come through the business analysis, right? Then business analysis, they need to make it as a requirement, and then we do the implementation. I mean, design, all these things we do. But if you go to the client side and if you're doing the implementation, and sometimes, you know, because if your system is on live, then no issues. But if you're trying to go live, right, if then what this client do, right, they are trying to push, they are saying, oh, we, without this requirement we can't go live, but it was not in the original requirement. So it could be huge change or small change, but still I believe if there's any change, we should be charging from them, because otherwise if we are not charging, we are not getting that money, and because without money, right, we can't, as a software company, we can't survive. We need to pay the salaries, pay the bills, everything, right? So as a software developer, you should have that basic understanding, saying that even though it is not directly impacting you at that point, but as a whole, you need to have that understanding. You should say, if even if client has small change, if it is a very small, but it should be, you should be following the process. You can inform project manager and the business analyst. If there are no business analyst, you can inform the project manager, they're asking a change, but it is a very small change, I can do that, but we need to document it out, like, agile process. We are creating a user story and we creating a task and we do the deployment, and also it need to be tested. So for this, even let's say if it is a 5 minutes work, then what you need to do, you need to develop that feature, you need to test that one. The 5 minutes, then maybe you need to spend 30 minutes testing. I'm talking about very small change. So then one after that, you need to do the deployment. Maybe it will take 30 minutes. Once you've done the deployment, then you need to do the test in other environment. Let's say QA. You do the testing, then you are informing QA guys, QA team members to do the testing. They will spend, let's say, 1 hour. So they've done the testing. Then say QA done, sign off, you can deploy to the UAT. Then you need to deploy to UAT, then you need to do your testing. Even though if it's a perfect environment, you need to do the smoke testing. I mean, smoke testing is the basic testing. You just check your functionality, whether if it is not involving multiple pages. I'm talking about very small change. So once you deploy the UAT environment, then you need to inform users and you're asking them to do the testing. So they will spend time. If they're happy, they can sign off. Then you need to deploy that change to the live environment, and we need to inform the client. Sometimes you need downtime. So then you need to inform the client and they need to do the testing. And if everything fine, you can sign off. So even though if it is a 5 minutes work, imagine how many things you need to do. So you need to build that. Otherwise, if you're not charging, then how we are going to bear that cost? So it is very important as a software engineer for you to understand these processes. If you are not understanding this, then you are thinking very small change. Sometimes client asks from you in the client meeting, can you do that? You can say, oh, I can do that change, no issue. But even though it's a small change, we need to inform the project manager and we need to follow the process. If you say, oh, no issue, we can do, it's a 5 minutes back, I can do that. If you say that, you are going to lose that. And so this is very important as a software engineer, you to have that understanding. So these challenges you will face if you're directly dealing with the client, especially whoever from the client, even the lower level or from the high level, they always want to save the money. That's fine. We all know that. We can try our best to save the money. But let's say they're asking 3 changes. So if you can do these 3 changes in single sprint or single release, it will save some money. But if you do 3 releases, imagine the cycle you need to do, development, testing, all these things, right? So that's why we have project managers, that's why we have business analysts, that's why we have more roles, that's why we have testers, and that's why we have other people like the deployment DevOps guys, we have network engineers, we need this jobs role. So as a software engineer, if you think that you can do everything, no. In a small world you can do that, but if you are working, even though if in a small world if you are doing that is you can't make, let's say if your company grows, right, then what would happen? You need multiple people, so you need to understand the teamwork. So during my career, the important things I learned, right, I think now they are talking about AI era, AI advantages. Yes, AI can maybe at the end AI can replace you. They can automate it, but still the companies, the client, they need changes. So they need people. So these things, I mean, you can't automate. It's experience you need to gain working with the client, working with the people. So it's a people centric. So it's very important, whoever listening this, I'm saying, because most of my video I'm trying to do, it's just like a basic video. I like to do an unedited one, and not the fancy environment, not using any fancy mic or anything. Just I wanted to share something, and I want to see let's how it goes, and I want to just share my experience. So whoever listening, I'm saying, think about that. Try to gain that experience. As let's say, even if you're intern, or if you're a well experienced person, and whoever, I've seen many people now talking about learn AI and you don't need how to code, and just learn the AI tools. I doubt it. Still, I doubt it. But if it is a high level product, or it's a very big company, right? They can automate all these things. They can document it. They can do that. But even the people who are working with them, if for you to understand this, right, you need to work with the multiple project, multiple people, multiple scenarios. That experience is very important. So that experience helped me to work with the multiple, especially the global client. I mean, even sometimes I feel sometimes it's easy work with the global client than the local. Like I'm talking about Sri Lanka. So when I was in Sri Lanka, so when I was working with I can remember Open University client. So they were government based, the people, the employers. So initially when we were trying to do the user training, after we deploy I'm a deploy live, right? Once we go live, so we were trying to do the user training. They would think that they would it might they might get impact to their job security wise. They were not ready to use the system. They were using the DOS system previously, and they were saying that, oh, it's our screen was black, and our mainly when we've done SPNet system, and our interface mainly using the white and also very nice buttons, and we had very UI nice UI engineers, and the interface was very nice and very user friendly. So they were saying that, oh, it's different. We were using a DOS system and it's very easy, and we are not getting timeout. We don't need to close. Sometimes initially you might need to clear your browser cache. If you're using the different people trying to use different browsers, we were asking them to use IE. That time it was IE. We were asking IE or Chrome. So we were asking them to use. Some people not ready to do that. So it was very hard. I mean, especially the government. So we had to convince them the benefit. You can, I mean, and we can generate reports. And even previous system you don't have that option, and you can do many things, like, because we can introduce their learning management system, and we can integrate with their learning management system and other systems. So, and you don't have that option before, so we can do that. So then I understand, then because sometimes if you do not have that integration, what you need to do, some people they need to download something and make it manual work, so copy paste, and there was a delay. So then let's say let's say you pay your course fees. So then what finance department or account department had to do is they had to take that manual copy and they need to manually enter that double entry to the system. Then only they can get that, then only it will reflect as income in their system. So these things were not happening. So if you try to talk with them, I mean, in a layman term, you can talk with them. So these are the benefits you are getting. So then now, sometimes people agree, "Maybe you can't get 100% high, 100%, but at least try to get 70 to 80." So then if they're happy, right? And also you can guide them. You can show them, you can train them. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's not difficult using a browser. It's not like a Windows system. Its browser is easy. And in the deployment wise, think that if you have Windows system before, the deployment person who is doing, right, he had to deploy all these exes to whole department. Maybe they can use click one, so there were few, but still some issues they were had, and sometimes you don't get the update versions. But if you're using a web centralized system and a database centralized, right, how easy it is. So you can talk these terms, try to convince them. So that then they will start using the system. So sometimes I got that experience. So I had very bad clients that time, and sometimes I had few team members. So I had one girl who was working with me, and one open university client was using bad words, uh, and she was very frustrated, and uh, she was literally crying at that time. So then I told her, and I went there and I talked to them like, we will trying our best to support you. We need your help, and I talked to your head as well. So we are not expecting that to be happen from you. You guys are government, and that system was doing as a ADB, Asian Development Bank grant. So these are public taxpayers' money. So why they are using this taxpayers' money in your university is, understand the reason. So they need the efficiency in the government, and they need to expedite the processes, and they need to improve. And whoever studying in that university, right, they will get benefit. They will get that benefit, and also you will get good income. So you can improve your university. So I talked to their head like that, and they were happy. I can remember this experience very important. And I had few friends, even I think I few people now in my Facebook. I mean, I don't talk to them now, but at least, but we had a good relationship with the client, and we talk with them. Like in Sri Lankan terms, we told Machan, how about how you're doing good. Do you need any help? So likewise, if you try to talk with the client, and if you try to make good relationship with them, so that will help. So that's the important experience as a youngster or whoever trying to become a software engineer. It's not robot. It's not like that. You need to try to build that relay. I mean, try to get that experience and don't think that, oh, I'm sorry, a software engineer. I will be doing only the coding. No, not that. It's not that for me. Still, I believe most of the people, I'm not talking about high-end software engineers. So we have application level developers. I'm talking about application developers. But it could be different for whoever working with the like OpenAI or different companies, and they hardly involving in the software thing. But I'm talking about whoever doing application development. So I'm an application developer. So my role is that. So I'm talking about relate to my experience. So that's it for today. So hope you guys in next week with a new episode, and I will try to share my experience with the other companies. Nice day. Bye.